Agatha had food. More precisely, so much food that included a warm velvety commo that dulled her senses and made her unable to think beyond the gurgles of her stomach. Whipper moseyed into the bathroom and sniffed at the scrap of cheese. He gave Agatha a corroded look, as if he thought she had outgrown all this, and shuffled it away. Agatha and Tetros had certainly had fights before. Fights that made Agatha doubt whether he loved her or she loved him, or whether they even belonged together. But this wasn't a fight. She was sure Tetros loved her now, or at least as sure as she could be. Except relationships aren't just about love, Agatha realized it. Relationships are about taking off the mask you wear to make someone like you and letting them see the real you. The one you hid all along. The one you never thought was good enough to find love in the first place. Tetros had helped her peel off the mask in her years at school. He had seen her as her most vulnerable and her absolute worst, and loved her even more for it. But now it was Tetros' turn to do the same, and he was acting like most boys do when asked to face their feelings. They won. There was another thing that also made this with difference than the others, Agatha thought, spotting the pile of letters on her desk. She could see the latest one, which she had read so many times, yet left unanswered. Darling, I know you're not reading this. I know you're not reading any of my letters. You're in love and have a wedding to plan and no time for silly old me. But if you do read this, just know that you are in my heart always, and living without you has been far harder than I could ever admit out loud. So let me say it here, I miss you. Love, Sophie. P.S. Did you know what has been getting love letters from a girl? Agatha wiped her eyes. Back at school, she had always had Sophie by her side, the third point in the triangle between her and Tetros. A hollow loneliness overran her, and for the first time, she saw it wasn't just her old, chivalrous prince she was yearning for, but her bold, beautiful best friend too. A best friend she had been avoiding, just like Tetros had been avoiding her. Now she was all alone. Outside, she heard wind and wing batter the ships in the harbor. Glancing through a small window, she saw none of these ships could sail. They were broken, neglected, and falling apart like the west of Camelot. Well, not all the ships. There was one that looked sturdy, with brilliant blue and gold finish and milky white sails. Along the bow, she read the ship's name, echoing. Agatha, police voice echoed outside. Shall we resume our... A loud hissing noise interrupted, followed by dog barks and crashing furniture. Police had met Reaper. "20 minutes later, Agatha was in the library, a two-story collection in the gold tower that must have once been impressive, but was now a heap of cobwebs, moth-eaten books, and so much dust she could hardly breathe. There were colorful sheets slung over the bookcases and desks, as if someone had started renovating a decade ago and never got around to finishing. Agatha slouched at the desk, shrouded in a purple sheet, trying to take notes as Police scrolled on a squeaky chalkboard, his face slashed with claw marks, suggesting he had lost the battle with her cat. You certainly don't want to be like Princess Kerber, who was so overwrought on her wedding day she ate an entire jar of peanut butter and vomited on her poor groom's shoes. Conversely, learn from the example of Princess Muguruza, who married a commoner, nearly prompting a revolt until she revealed her bridal gown, made entirely out of pink pearls she had gathered from the savage sea. No one dared attack a girl who had braved such treacherous waters, and in time, every last dissenter forgave her. Agatha glazed over, her head drooping into the purple sheet. She tried to force herself awake, praying her eyes open. That's when she saw the patterns stitched on the fabric. Tiny silver five-pointed stars in a purple night sky, like they'd been drawn by a child. It wasn't a sheet at all. It was a cape. Agatha held in a smile, her eyes on Polly's back. She put her nose to the purple velvet and inhaled the scent of fresh cocoa as if someone was brewing it right now. Then there was Princess Mahalumis, whose father kidnapped her during the ceremony and sold her to a never warlord in Weatherbow, Police retort, which goes to show our family entanglements should be sorted before the wedding. Agatha rose from her chair, careful not to make a sound, and slipped her palms into the cape, vanishing her hands like a magic trick, then her arms, then her shoulders. I don't hear your pen, Agatha. This is for your own good, Police tooted. But by the time he turned, all that remained of his students was a single clump, somehow left behind.